Shane says FF on X. Yeah, welcome in. You are joining the Friday night trade stream on DDFFB, members only to start. Make sure you sign to that Trades and Chill tier. You get access to emojis, Dynasty Deal Show, Trinity Show early, Destination Chill, everything we got going over here at DDFFB. Make sure you tap into the Patreon, patreon.com/allgas if you're trying to be more part of the community. But guess what, gentlemen? We got a lot of trades to get to, and I got one rule. You hear this noise? We got to wrap up what we're talking about, get to the next one. YouTube did not destroy our comments this week, so I'm happy about that. We got a bunch of things in the hopper. It is mid-season. We are in renovation season. You know, we are reconstructing our rosters. We got to choose a lane. We got to take down the HVAC. We got to break out the tool belt, and we got to figure out what we're going to do with these dynasty rosters. So let's start here with Blake. Also, I was going to get like a construction sounder, but I realized all construction sounds just terrible for like audio listening. So that didn't happen. Y'all are welcome. Blake Harper. Yo, team here. 8 teams start 13. You guys start 2 quarterbacks, 2 tight ends. There's no tight end premium, and it's a half-point PPR. You got Allen, JD5 in May, Chase, Nico, Pittman, Rashid Shaheed, Ridley, Jordan Whittington. Gross, I know. ETN, Warren, Algier, even grosser. Any running back on a 53. We got Kraft, Henry, and Waller. Questions. Traded Neighbors for Nico and a 26 first.
Nice.
And we also traded Genty and a second for Chase and a third from a super team in 2 moves. Shane, are these good deals in an 8x13?
8x13. So let's see. 8 times 3 is 24 plus 8 and then 10. That's 104 starters. I like the first in Nico. I like that, getting the first in Nico. And Genty. I'm sorry, you traded Neighbors for Nico, a 28 first in Genty.
Yeah. Neighbors and a 28 first for Nico and a 28 first for Neighbors is one deal. And then Genty and a second for Chase and a third, another deal.
Traded Nico for a 28 first and Genty and a second. Oh, okay. Sorry, never mind. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm good with both those moves. I like both those moves. You're only starting 8. Neighbors obviously isn't helping you right now, and you got some future insulation there with a 28 first, and by future I do mean future. And I love Genty, but if all I have to do is to add a second to him to get someone that could explode for 40 points, last night obviously was weird how he got there, but he's done this before. So yeah, I like that deal.
Yeah, absolutely. Also creative approach for getting into quarterback. No buyers on May after I overpaid for JD5. Scott, in an 8-team start 13 league, you guys are 2 quarterbacks. That's what, 16 quarterbacks total have to be started across the league if they want to, basically. What is the quarterback market like in leagues like that? And what are some creative approaches to move off some quarterbacks? Given he has May, JD5, Allen. What are you doing in there?
Well, Shane nailed the math. It's 104 starters, but you have some different scarcity equations here, right? It's only an 8-teamer. So even if it's start 2 QB, the back end quarterback shouldn't be that hard to get into. You know, everybody's probably going to have 4 or 5 on their roster. Backups have no value, but obviously they could be just depth pieces that if you need them. I think here's the thing. You probably have to construct your lineup here. I know if you double 8 teams, it's 16. You probably don't have to go that deep, but you probably almost have to construct your team here like your backup at each position is like a starter almost. So like this quarterback room, barring that you can't split one of those assets and you have to get a third quarterback, but I also don't want to tear off of one of these quarterbacks and then end up with like Bryce Young. You know what I mean? So it's like, unless I can just get another starter and a starter that meets the threshold in a league where there's only 104 across the entire landscape, what is even splitting a quarterback? I'm almost looking at this quarterback room like this is the one part of my roster that I'm with. These are my 3 QBs. All are probably top 12. I have to go into it saying every time I have to start a quarterback, I'm getting potentially a difference maker or something that's very close. The rest of the roster, though, like I don't actually love the Neighbors for Nico and a 28 first. 28 first is only what you can make it. It's 3 years away. In a 8-teamer like this, it's hard to guarantee that even a first turns into a player that's even a starter, right? Like you would look at Matthew Golden in this format. He's just a guy. The difference between him and just what else you can probably find on the back of your bench, you know, not that big a difference. So it's a weird math equation here. I think this team is not very good. But at the same time, like, you have to be trying to tier into as many elite players as you can get to. Chase and Genty, sure. But it's hard to navigate unless you really can split one of those quarterbacks, because it feels like you're riding your quarterbacks have to produce at the high end of their range of outcomes. And then you just hope that everything that you put in there starter-wise produces. But I'm sitting here like ETN, Warren. By the time your team comes around, do those guys matter anymore? So I don't know. Well, this is a unique one, Ty. I want to hear your perspective, because this is totally different than I know what any of us play. I've never played in an 8-team pure dynasty league. I've played in like some keepers, redraft and stuff, but like a pure dynasty league, I don't know how I would approach it. This is probably new to all of us.
Yeah, I'm in a 8-team redraft league, and let me tell you, the amount of quarterbacks on waivers is astounding. I know that wouldn't be the reality in a dynasty league, but it also tells me, man, every other team in my league is going to have quarterbacks on the back end of their roster that they want to do something with, but they're probably not going to get the value they want. I think it would boost up the value of those elite guys that you can pencil in those 20+ point weeks in consistently versus playing in some of that mucky water. But I think it's also the team that, prioritized studs elsewhere and got that Sam Darnold in their lineup instead. I think those teams probably found an edge in this shallow of a league. So, as far as finding ways to move off of them, you probably got to take the deal that you don't want to, but you also got to ask yourself, what is easier for me, just to have this quarterback locked away and ready to go, or, play it another way. So I don't think there's a real correct answer there. Shane, Blake also asked, extra wrinkle, half of the dues go to a 10-year pot, and at the end of 10 years, the average placing winner takes all of it. Does that change your strategy at all from like a week-to-week, year-to-year management in Dynasty? I know we're talking about, is 2028 a real year? Would 10 years down the road, how does that factor into your decisions today?
I wonder how far into this they are, first of all, like this 10-year pot. So it's just based off of how my finishes are on an average basis.
Yeah.
I don't even know how you would comprehend that. I don't. I literally no idea. I would suggest win a lot and then, be in good shape. I mean, I'm sure if you gave me the chart of like the standings, it would make more sense to me. Or, you know what I mean? Like the understanding of it. Obviously, sure, that would go into it. Half the dues for 10 years. I don't know what the dues are. Let's say they're $500 over 10 years. It's only $5,000, right? Only air quotes. I honestly, I don't know, because it's such a long time frame. It's not like it's an Empire pot 3 years. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's something I can wrap my head around.
The idea of a dynasty league lasting 10 years at this point is also a pretty incredible thing. So, Scott, any comments there on that league format?
No, I mean, if it's literally cumulative over 10 years, like, you're probably trying to never tank per se. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, even averaging in an 8th place finish is better than last. Not finishing at the bottom half is probably good. I mean, it gives a big advantage, honestly, to the teams that win it early. Because then it's like, if you have 2 titles in the first 5 years, you don't even have to win it again. You just have to, like, not absolutely suck. So your trades imagine if I said, Shane, all you have to do is finish 5th place or better. Your trades would kind of be like, just don't stink. You know what I mean?
It would literally be, how do I get to 6th seed every year? Like, can I just maintain
don't take
there?
zeros. Always have good players, but you never need to like elevate to, a tier up or anything. So that I would honestly try to get ahead of it early, because if you're 4 years in and you haven't won, you have to go for broke. You know what I mean? Otherwise, you have no chance of getting there. Empire pots are weird. We've seen questions over the years where people are like, Empire pots, as it gets close to that ending, like, I bet you that last 2 or 3 years of the league, like, nobody is gonna trade with the guy that's in the first place in the overall standings. Like, it's like, dude, this guy can just go pound it. Don't do anything. That's the only way everybody else has a chance, is if that team does nothing.
Exactly. No, it's definitely a long-term game, but you got to play it some way. Yeah, you got to reload quick. We got some good people in the building here. We got Pretzels 24. We got Anna Hola, Mr. Jordan Jackson, Blake Harper saying, just feels so bad to miss on those weeks. Well, yeah, you got 3 of them. You're going to have some headaches for sure, unfortunately. Ahoff, 12 teams start 10, three wide receivers, a super flex, a PPR, and a 0.5 tight end premium. We got Mahomes, Herbert, Dart, Daniel Jones, Javonte, Monty, Henderson, Ramondre, Puka, Amon-Ra, St. Brown, DK, Waddle, Evan, Shakir, Ferguson. No 26 picks, all of their 27 picks. He's 5-1, most of the points scored, but feeling uneasy with his running backs. Henderson for Brees, Henderson and Daniel Jones for Jacobs, Henderson, Daniel Jones in a second for Achane.
Yes.
Yes, that second one, is Jacobs hurt? Is he okay? I heard a report. I don't know. Scott, do you know?
Sounds like he's fine. He just had a
Fine.
minor calf injury, but sounds like it was something he's been dealing with. So no
Okay.
concern about his availability.
Okay. Yeah, Shane, like, is that how you're trying to use your Henderson? Like, just most points scored on a team that's trying to win right now? Like, just give me some production right now?
I'll do that for a chain. I'm not doing that for Brees. Although Henderson for Brees straight up is a lot cheaper than Henderson Daniel Jones. I can't believe I'm including Daniel Jones as being a piece that makes me hesitate. And a second for a chain. Who are his quarterbacks again?
It's got Mahomes, Herbert, Dart, and Daniel Jones.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that. I'm never starting Daniel Jones unless of apocalypse. In a chain. What did he do last week? Was he, what was it, 30-point week, 35-point week, whatever? Yeah. Running back 6 overall, something like that. Points per game every year. Yeah, I'll do the chain one. It's expensive. It is as much as I don't want to give Daniel Jones that type of credit. He's very valuable right now, just not to you.
Yeah, I would ask if that's like the best use of the Daniel Jones. I'd probably try some different deals, but also that is an expendable asset on your roster. And Scott, when I have those guys, I am trying to find ways to jam them into deals to get that value with them. So these 3 deals: Henderson for Brees, Henderson and Daniel Jones for Jacobs, or Henderson Jones in a second for Achane. How are you feeling on those?
Well, I'm definitely not doing Henderson and Daniel Jones for Jacobs. That feels like you're selling your soul for something right now, but you're still buying into a 7th-year running back that, if he's not healthy, like literally if he was out 2 weeks with a calf injury, people would be scared to death to take him on in any trade. So just think about that. Think about how volatile that is. And you have to throw Daniel Jones on top to get Jacobs. So that one's absolutely out. I can do Henderson for Brees. That's the cleanest one. That's a 1-for-1. It's a running back for a running back. Unless you buy a player that's absolutely awful, which of the 2 players, I can say the one that has the risk of being awful is probably Travion Henderson, not Brees. So sure, Henderson becomes a superstar. There's a 10% chance or less that happens and you miss out. But I like that deal. If you have zero worry about, what have we talked about? Running backs that are not at the very top, they don't have dynasty value, right? I don't have a year to wait for Henderson to become Brees Hall. If I want to trade for Brees now, fine. And then that third deal, Achane's great, but again, that's just not what I want to do with my assets. Henderson has one good game, and you could get Achane for him straight up. So these are panic deals. These are
what? No, you can't. Not unless you're playing with crayon eaters. Any moron that's trading Henderson for, if you're trading a chain for Henderson straight up, after one good Henderson game, you shouldn't play this game. You should go play Clue or something else.
Shane,
just not this.
I don't disagree with you. I'm just, people are waiting for Henderson to have the game. They're waiting for him to have one game like Achane's had 10. And if he has one of those, then it's all over. He is Dynasty RB5, and there's going to be people that just don't care about any of the other guys not named Bijan, Gibbs, Genty. That Henderson's the next guy. And we know that's true. He has that steam where people are just waiting. It's almost like, what do you see every week on Twitter? I see at least 3 or 4 threads a week. This is the Henderson game. This is the game he's getting involved. You've seen that for a month in a row. So it's there.
Yep. And every time he doesn't do something on the field, it's the Patriots' fault. It's never Henderson's fault. People are waiting for that game to really put him in there. KTC, JB's, tiers, fantasy calc, everything has Brees Hall over Henderson right now. So, how the mighty have fallen. So yeah, that is probably the cleanest deal in there. But yeah, hey, if you can't find anything else for that Daniel Jones, adding him to get that hammer in your lineup that could use a running back, I don't mind that off. But it's the iron price for sure. Roy G, GEGPTU. Roy got a 12-team start 10 Superflex lineup PPR with 1 point tight end premium. We're trading away Dart, Scattaboo, Kincaid, and Waddle. He got back Burrow, Neighbors, Arroyo, and Brashard Smith. It's a rebuild versus contender trade, so a directional deal. feel in good spot for next season. The team is now JD 5, Caleb, Burrow. We got backup running backs like Woody, Carter, Haskins, Smith, Hunter, Golden, Pearsall, Neighbors, Theo, Taylor, Johnson, Arroyo. A lot of youth. He has an extra first and second next year. He'll try to flip one of those quarterbacks when the opportunity arises for skill players. Feels happy at this point to have no depth, more studs to race to the bottom. So looking at this deal here, he trades away Dart, Scat, Kincaid, and Waddle. Got back Burrow, Neighbors, Arroyo, B. Smith, Scott. So, Dart, Scat, Kincaid, and Waddle. Feels like all those guys, a window has opened at this point in the season, and that desire has risen for them. Burrow, Neighbors, definitely the studs of the deal. The window is open for them. Arroyo, B. Smith, not the reason you're really doing a deal. How are you approaching those teams where you're trying to kick it to next year? Are you trying to go studs and brace to the bottom? Do you want multiple usable assets maybe you can do something with? Like, what are you doing here?
This is an interesting deal because obviously Burrow and Neighbors are the next year play. And then Dart and Scattaboo are the guys right now that if you have them and you can move them, like we would talk about a lot, if you can move them, and I know Shane probably agrees. If you have Dart and Scattaboo and you can tier up with them, this is the time, right? This is the time where they are taking the league by storm. Everybody thinks they're great. I mean, Scattaboo's like RB10. Dart's like quarterback 9. I mean, they're on the New York Giants, guys. Like, no one's ever been excited about Giants players. It's Malik Neighbors and or Odell Beckham. Safe. That's it.
Hakeem Nicks. All right, buddy. Hakeem Nicks.
Going way back. The point is, for the first time in a long time, there's actually excitement around like the Giants team, and they don't have their best player. And you did give away, you gave away 4 pieces right now. I mean, I know Kincaid was injured, but Kincaid's been having a great season. It is a 2 PPR league. I would guess that probably Kincaid is the most highest scoring player on your team that you're trading away here, even with Scattaboo and Waddle. But it's a 2 PPR. Like, Kincaid's really good in that format. 4 for 2. Rashard Smith, Arroyo, fine. This deal feels like it's better if my team is needing to shed some points too and needing to tier up. And I already have like a backfill of, some picks to move. And I know he said his team basically is kind of gutted, right? He's got a bunch of rookies and Hopium players and only 1 extra first. I mean, I don't know. I struggle with this one because it feels like we're looking at Roy's, right? Not a
Oh, what I put up? Oh, my bad.
I'm like, wait a second. He's got Puka and Amon-Ra.
My bad.
Mahomes. Okay, now
Nice.
The rebuild turned right around. Right on.
Wow, quick, nice, good work during the show.
I mean, he has no running backs, right?
Yeah.
So like, no running backs. So obviously, you're not contending now or anything close to it. Receivers, I mean, behind Neighbors, I don't like it, Shane. I don't like it. I feel like he cashed out, but I also feel like I would have rather done something different with those players individually instead of putting all 4 of them in one deal. A lot of pressure on Burrow and Neighbors to come back, and it's like they have to be right back where you thought they were, and if they're not, you're still shallow, right? But if one of those guys just goes to like very good and not great, I think you actually gave up more assets that you might need. So I don't know. What do you think?
You gave up more assets, and you might not like that he had to use them all in a deal like that, one deal, but taken separately, they're not worth what you got back. Malik Neighbors is a wide receiver 7. He's probably going to fall behind Emeka Buka, probably a couple other wide receivers before the year is out. But he'll still be a top 12 wide receiver. Assuming he comes back healthy, which, he's 23 years old. This isn't like Chris Godwin age, you know what I mean? He's 23 years old. I would assume that we're all going to talk ourselves into how great he's going to be immediately, even if we should know that that's not going to be the case. So I don't think his value is going to dip at all. I'm fine with the deal. I mean, you're getting Neighbors, so sure. Like, what else could you do with? If you did Scattaboo straight up, what do you think you get for Scattaboo? Like, would you prefer that he move Scattaboo for a first, and then move Dart for first and a third, Dart for? I don't even know what quarterback. You couldn't tear down no quarterback. Really,
I will say
you could move Dart for a couple first, maybe.
I think Dart and Burrow are almost equal at this point. As crazy as it sounds, if Dart continues to play how he's playing, I don't know if
Well, yeah.
you can just send Burrow for Dart plus and automatically get the manager to accept based on if we've seen anything from this year's quarterback scoring, where apparently Sam Darnold and Daniel Jones and Baker Mayfield and Caleb Williams, like those are your elite quarterbacks, not like the top end, but like, you don't need to have Joe Burrow if he's quarterback 7 to win. Jackson Dart to be quarterback 11, and they're the same thing. So it kind of feels like people are figuring out that, you don't have to do that if you have 2 good quarterbacks. And in this team, he has 3. You know what I don't like about this? Why put so much capital into Burrow when you already have Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams? That feels like next year, off season, you're trying to round out your roster. You're going to go, can I trade Caleb for like, I don't know, a first and maybe Waddle and Kincaid? You know what I mean? Like, can I do the exact deal later to get more depth? I don't know. I don't love it. I don't love putting all my tokens in 3 quarterbacks like that, when the one you're probably going to want to move is the one that I don't know if the market's going to respond until he's back on the field. Speaking of Burrow.
Scott, I'm looking at Dynasty Daddy's trade database. There's been 3 deals in the last 2 days, Joe Burrow for Jackson Dart straight up, and one where the Joe Burrow side had to add a first to get to the old Dart. So we're here.
I mean, yeah, the first you could go either way on that deal. The first is a dumb trade to add that, but the straight up, I mean, listen, Dart was like quarterback 9 and Burrow has fallen to like quarterback 8 because he's out.
Yeah, he's already 8. Dart's at 13.
That's the world. I mean, I don't know. We paid for some name here, and you doubled down on not liking it because you now have 3. I mean, Caleb's a top 8 quarterback, right? You have 3 top 8 quarterbacks and then nothing else but Malik Neighbors. And it feels like you have a lot more work to do. You need somebody to give you a deal where they give you like 3 assets for one of your QBs later. Hopefully you can get it done.
And if you hold on to those first, guess you're probably going to be staring down the barrel of in the draft, probably another quarterback that you could take there as well. I don't mind, Kincaid Waddle for a Neighbors, or a deal like that. But I think, the Dart and Scat for Burrow and some change. I think that's where you lose me on that one, Roy. But maybe 2 separate deals versus one big one if you could help it there. But I know you have another one. We'll come back to you there, Roy. We'll go to Mike Conron. We got 12 team start 10 Superflex PPR. It's a 0.5 tight end premium, 6 -2 for quarterbacks. We send Judkins for Marks, a late 26 first and second. Then we dealt Pickens and Marks for Downs, Jaden Higgins, and a late 26 first. I'm going to pause there. Shane, let's break this down. So we sent Judkins. We got Marks, a late first and second. Decent cash out on Judkins in a 12x10.
So he's 6-2, or is he saying 6 by
6? 6 passing, -2 interception.
Okay, I was still like, wait, why are we bottoming out? Why? What are we doing here?
I have some more team context, but we can get there in a second.
Yeah, that's fine. It's funny. Someone offered me, I think Marks in a first for Quinshawn today, and I out of hand just rejected it. But if I'm not competing and I'm trying to rebuild, sure, Marks 26 first, and how late we talking? Yeah, that's the only. I mean, I don't love it because it could be late. I wish I could have got another first from him, or a 27 first instead, because at least the 27 first, even if it's from the same team, might have the allure of it could be better. But I assume you shop Judkins around, hopefully, and if that's the case, and this is the best offer that was out there, I'm fine with it.
So we got Marks in that deal. Then we added Marks 2 Pickens. We got Downs, Higgins, and a late 26 first. So another first. Downs isn't playing this week. Jaden Higgins hasn't really shown too much in Houston yet. I don't love giving up Pickens in that deal, but at least you get the first back there. Anything else on that one there, Shane?
I mean, again, hopefully this isn't a late first. I mean, George Pickens what is he, the wide receiver 3 overall in scoring right now? Something ridiculous like that.
Yeah, across a couple of different metrics. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously CD is going to come back and eat some of the targets because that's just how targets work. There's only so many of them to go around, but he's still probably going to be pretty good. Yeah. It's funny because before the season, or maybe prior to that, but when he was with Pittsburgh, if you could have gotten a first for George Pickens, you'd absolutely smash it and not even think about it, right? Or any wide receiver in that tier. But I think he might have ascended past that tier. All that said, again, though, I know you're selling out, and really that's the purpose. Like, is George Pickens a foundational piece? Is Quinshon Judkins, are they foundational pieces? If they're not, I'm fine with moving them for these types of picks.
Yeah. Sell Rashad for a third. I sold a Rashad White for Braylon Allen in a third today in a best ball league. I think if you're selling Rashad White, he's a useful piece right now. I want a little more than a third, even just a running back body, something else with it. I want that to be a 2-for-1, not just a straight for a third. If I'm selling a White, but hey, at least you're getting something for him. So, felt gross. Helped me to last, sure. So the team is now May, Kyler, any quarterback on a 2D. We got White, Spears, any running back on a 53. Tet, Ladd, Hunter, Downs, Higgins, Keon. We got Loveland and Terrace Ferguson. 426 first, 3 seconds, 2 thirds. It's a 3-3 team, but the bottom is attainable. Only had a 35% playoff odds before the deals. So Scott, looking at these deals, Judkins for Marks a late first and second, Pickens and Marks for Downs, Higgins, and a late first. If these deals bring you down a couple spots in your overall draft ranking, how does that factor into it? And how do you feel in totality of these deals?
Yeah, I do think we sometimes overrate how far it brings us down, because we view, when you're trying to compete, you view points very much in the form of your lineup, right? Whereas I think we sometimes get snuck up on with the potential points. Like, the reality is, like, Jaden Higgins and Josh Downs will contribute potential points. Now, it might not be George Pickens, but at the same time, like, you probably weren't starting Jaden Higgins ever until he does score points. But then he has a game out there, let's say he scores 18 points in a game. Like, those are potential points on your roster, but they don't really count because you were never going to start him in that range. So it kind of feels like you're pivoting off of points, but you are still adding points to your team. So I don't know if it really, unless you're talking like I can shed 10 points or 20 points and it moves me a spot or two. Like, we just don't know that. But most of the time you look at the potential points in a league, it's like the first team at the bottom is 150 below everybody else. And then it's like 50 below the next team. So it just kind of feels like I overrate that a little bit, especially as we get closer to the end of the year. It's not going to change that much. Do I like the first deal? The first deal is fine. You don't think Judkins is a difference maker, like Shane says, then you got 2 picks. Marks you can use. You immediately put Marks into another deal. I don't love the second deal. Feels like you traded into a receiver and Downs that is what he is. Like, are you ever going to feel confident of him being above and beyond where he sits today in a start 10? Probably not. You got to almost commit to just playing him going forward forever until he's bad. You know what I mean? Higgins, complete wild card. I don't know. If one of those guys, if Higgins ends up being an asset, then I can be fine with both deals because you accumulated value, but it could easily be ones where you split and got nothing of substance.
Yeah. I don't love it, but and maybe that's the thing that moves your team forward. Like, I don't like that second one a little more, but I don't hate the first one. I think Marks, he had a 30-point week, and then like that nothing week, we just totally forgot about it. We had amnesia of what Marks did. Maybe he can wake us up again. But thank you, Mike. We appreciate you. Move on to Big Tez 62. 12 teams start 10 Superflex PPR lineup. It's a 6 -4 quarterback scoring and a 2 PPR for tight ends. Auction start this past offseason, 5-1 start. He's currently in first. He's got Dak, Rodgers, Geno, Mack, and Brissett. He's got CMC and Genty, Chase, Ibuka, Adams, Addison, Devonta Smith, McBride, Fannin, Jawan, Pat F. Ooh, you love having that Pat F in the lineup this week. Did this deal 2 weeks ago, and the co-owner has been chewing on it if it was the right move or not. We gave Ibuka and got back Travis Hunter, Luther Burden, and a mid-26 first. I'm going to pause there. Scott, I've had people knocking on my door for Ibuka now that the injury window is there, and there's a lot of deals that get sent my way, and I do question, is it the right deal? Travis Hunter, Burden, and a mid-26 first. Is that what you're doing with your Ibuka?
No. It's a 3-for-1. And 2 of the receivers you're getting back are, doesn't it feel like those 2 receivers specifically, like if you have them, you want to do this exact thing? Yeah. Man, what can I capitalize on the excitement of everybody thinks these guys can be great? Just you got to wait them out another year, Shane. They'll both be studs. You just got to give them more time. More time. Year 2, year 3. And it's possible. If there's going to be a guy that kind of comes out of nowhere and ends up being just an elite receiver, I would actually bet on one of these 2 being that. But it also feels like if I can get Ibuka, these are the types of players I want to throw in. So if you're one of those, just is it fair to call people that take a trade like this, like a dynasty sucker, that are willing to buy into the early production and the pre-draft evaluations and just say, I'm getting the package of really valuable stuff. I don't know. I don't love it.
I mean, so he explains a little more his new wide receiver room: Chase, Adams, Addison, Hunter, Devonta, Burden. Their logic needed to add flexibility, give us the first 4 quarterback asset plus some optionality for next year. Also 3 shots to hit at least at 1. Okay, so I get that, Shane, but also you already had that flexibility with Ibuka, with some of that quote unquote dynasty insulation with it as well. I do want to, like, there's certain assets that I get wanting to split and have flexibility, but inherently you have that flexibility with that thing. So that's where it makes the right deal harder to find.
Yeah, I kind of hate agreeing with Scott, but I'm gonna kind of agree with him here. It does feel like you gave up. I don't want to say a known asset, but basically at this point, for how we play the game, a known asset for something that you hope one of those dudes could ascend to that, sure. And maybe Travis Hunter and Burden could. I don't know that still would mean that the deal itself in construct was the correct deal to make, even if you accidentally are correct later. I just wonder again, what's the purpose of the deal? Like, is the purpose like we're just trying to bottom out this year?
They're 5-1 and in first currently.
So then, you know what I mean? Like, okay, then why am I moving to Mecca Ibuka for that? Like, do you want to move him for Burden and another wide receiver that's actually producing? You know what I mean? Something like that. Fine. I mean, the package is probably fine. You know what I mean? You got Travis Hunter in a 26 first. That's not bad. And then Burden, people love Burden. Every time he pops off, people keep jumping to Twitter to tell you how great he's going to be. So the value is probably not. It's not off. I bet if you stick this in a calculator, it probably looks fine. But if I'm 5-1, I probably want to go a different way with this. I do.
Yeah. I mean, they sold all the rookie picks in the auction fab during the startup. I've been there. We've that's Steve-O's move, right? Every auction with him, it is all those picks are gone to have more money. So, trying to kind of patchwork it in post. I get it, but yeah, I don't think you have a good team and you're in first. I don't think that's how I want to use my Ibuka. I'll sit on a week of an Ibuka injury, or I'll look for another move that actually, like Shane says, maybe it's one of those pieces and something that actually helped my lineup as well. But
because now I'm looking at, like, can I move Travis Hunter and I don't know, Luther Burden?
Well, I'll give you an example
and get a wide receiver.
So I just traded in a league where I was kind of in the middle today. I just traded away Chris Olave. Here was the deal. I traded away Chris Olave and Breece Hall for a 26 first. Right now, the team is actually as low as me in the standings. So they're like the 4th to lowest, and I'm the 5th. So both of us had to kind of like move up or out. You know what I mean? Traded Olave and Breece Hall for Cam Scattaboo and that first. So basically, if you wash out Scattaboo and Breece Hall, Olave for a first, then turned around and traded Jalen Waddle and a 3rd for a first. So when those guys are in demand, right? Olave and Waddle, both of them are in demand. They're getting good opportunity. Obviously, Tyreek's out. At best, you can get a first for them because they're receivers. They're not elite receivers. They're only as good as their production. We know both of those guys are good players, but they're probably not great. That feels like the best case you get with Hunter and Burden, right? They just kind of become a Waddle and Olave, and they're good players, and maybe you could get a first. Like,
I think most people that have Burden or have Hunter hope that the ceiling's higher than that. I mean, that's the hope.
I think we are very much looking back with some tinted glasses if we think that Luther Burden's just going to get what Chris Olave or Jalen Waddle did early in their career. If Luther Burden was doing what Jalen Waddle did as a rookie, he would be wide receiver 5 in Dynasty right now. Dude had 100 receptions. And we remember Chris Olave as a rookie. Mm-hmm. He immediately came in and commanded like an alpha target share and workload. So I think you need the perfect scenario. Now, I will say these guys are tied to good offenses, right? So if they hit, they're probably going to be able to ride a good offense into better than production than what they probably warrant. Just feels risky. Like, what he says he wants one of those guys to hit. Like, what is a hit? It's like, oh, maybe I can get another first. And Ibuka's going easily for 2 firsts, if not more. Mm-hmm. So it just feels like you made a lot of work for yourself. Hopefully it's right, though.
Yeah. Could work out in the end, but maybe not the move that I'm making. We got Sean in the building. What's up? We got Joe Hours in the building. We got Big Kane. We often discuss knowing, Big T, Big Kane, Big T. We discuss knowing when to sell assets at a profit, and then we buy for seconds and thirds during the offseason, like Scadaboo, Fannin, etc. How do you know what a fair deal looks like in season? Yeah, Shane, like these prices change, from the point scoring season to not, the hopium season to the actual what is it doing for my lineup today. The prices change. So how do you know what a fair deal looks like in season?
Are we speaking just from the terms of players like Scadaboo and Fannin, or are we just talking in general? Because my needs change in season depending on the roster. Am I trying to win right now? Because if I am, then I'm willing to trade Puka Nacua and something for an elderly gentleman like CMC and whatever the wide receiver was on top of that. You know what I mean? Like I already forget. It's been 2 days. My mind is mush. It really depends upon my roster. It's fair. Does it help me? Is it fair? Does it help me in my goal, whatever that goal is? Is my goal to lose and get the best picks I can possibly for next year? Then it was a good deal if it helped me get to that end. If I'm trying to win, well, obviously, again, I'm willing to take like a CMC, even though I shouldn't.
Yeah. I agree with that, right? Like I think there's a price I might have in the off season, but once we're in season, it has to actually make sense for my team to motivate me to do something.
Mhm.
If it would move my team forward, I will work with you. We will find a deal. But if I don't see that as a way, then you can toss me all the trade calculators, the fairest deal you can. It's not going to motivate me to actually make that move.
Right.
Anything else on this thought here, Scott? Like how do you know what a fair deal looks like in season for some of these guys?
I mean, I've said this in the Discord a lot. Like, I think during the season, fair deals are really just in the moment. What are you willing to pay, and how much impact is whatever you're trading for going to have on your lineup? Not even on your team. Like, if I'm trying to trade something for a third or a second or buy something in that same range, like, I'm not looking ahead of what's that going to be in 6 months. I'm rarely looking at next season going, oh, this guy's going to be in my same spot in my flex in week 6 next year. Now, the good news is this is football. It's not like players turn over and entire rosters are turned over next year to where 90% of the players that are playing today are not even going to be relevant next year. If you're good today, if you're trying to think of like a perfect example, but if you're just like Rachaad White is a great one. He's currently starting. He's not a starter. He probably isn't going to be a starter every week going forward. But you know what he's probably going to be next year? On a team somewhere with a similar role that he has now. So buying him for a second and a third today is not buying something worthless later. You just have to make sure you have the roster around it to go, hey, I need some Rachaad Whites for my team build going into next year. So I think there's sometimes deals where people overthink it. Oh, that guy's going to be worthless going forward. Like Jacoby Brissett. Why would I give a third for him? Well, you know what? Because he could be worth a third a lot of weeks over the next 2, 3, 4 years. Because he kind of is what he is. So I think it's how much do you need it? I think oftentimes we buy stuff, but we don't need it. You guys have been there, like especially lineup leagues. Are you going to buy something, Ty, for a second if you actually don't need it? Are you buying Rachaad White if you're already deciding between Bam Knight and Kamani Vidal? You know what I mean? Like I'm not giving a second for Rachaad White when I have an option on my bench that I'm already sitting that I'm willing just to put in. I think that's the mistake people make because you're not buying dynasty value. You're just buying placeholders.
100%. I'm going to make that deal and then want to flip that guy for a pick because I have too much stuff already. So no, it has to make sense. Absolutely. Speaking of things that make sense, Scott, I know you have a lot of Kyler. I know Shane has a lot of Kyler too. How are we handling Kyler? We've seen the drop in KTC, what possible Liz Frank injury. How are you handling your Kylers today, Scott?
I'm looking right now. Quarterback exposure. The only guys I have more than Kyler are Tyson Bagent, Teddy Bridgewater, Jacoby Brissett, Josh Dobbs, Drew Lock, and Jarrett Stidham. You didn't hear any starters in there. So I have a lot of Kyler in spots where he is one of my starters. There's not much you can do. Unfortunately, and I don't know if Shane's in the same boat, but I think he is based on what he's talked about. I would actually buy Kyler because I think the value is starting to dent on him that he's going to get benched and they're going to move on from him and he's not going to be an NFL starter. You know, meanwhile, like Joe Flacco's a starter, but Kyler will never get another chance. Like he's going to get other chances, right? He just may not feel good about the chance that he's getting. There could be bad vibes in Arizona where they break off. There's a little bit of a divorce there, and then he goes somewhere else. But the bad thing is I can't participate in the Kyler, let's buy at a price where I could maybe tear off Jackson Dart, because it's like, dude, do I really don't want to add more Kylers? So I'm stuck personally because I have so much already. Like, you try to trade him, it's like, Shane, I want to get Dak. I'll give you Kyler. It's like, I need to add a first. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not doing that because it makes no sense to do it at this moment. I mean, a year ago, Dak was where Kyler is, and Kyler was a guy that was coming back from a serious injury. So you just got to hold him. I hate saying hold, but like, if you have so much Kyler like I do, I can't tear off of Jordan Love for Kyler or CJ Stroud for Kyler. I would do that from a scoring perspective, though. But I just can't. I can't buy more Kyler. It feels like I'm putting myself in a bigger hole because the market does not like him, and I'm guessing they're not going to like him in the offseason either.
I mean, no, the market doesn't like him, right? So we're talking from a portfolio perspective. Yeah,
People do not like him.
Right.
There's not a lot of people that are like, he's the greatest dude ever. Dynasty, NFL, like, it seems like he's just an enigma where nobody really likes him much.
No, I was at the barber today, got a fresh cut. And as I'm leaving, we were talking, obviously every time I'm there, we talk about fantasy football because that's the only thing that they know of me, I guess. Nothing like I have an actual life going on, always fantasy football. But anyway, irregardless. And the one dude says, oh, well, why Kyler's faking an injury, it's because Call of Duty came out. And I'm just like, I don't even engage it because I'm like, this is one of the stupidest fucking conversations I could possibly have. So I'm not having this conversation.
You've never heard that one before, Shane, have you?
Right. I'm like, sure, he's faking a Liz Frank injury so he could play Call of Duty. Yeah, I get it. People don't like him. I keep saying this. If he's your quarterback 2, you are fine. It's on the rosters where you built him as your quarterback 1. Besides the fact that he's injured, you're probably not fine. You know what I mean? Funny enough is I'm kind of happy that he's out because it's forcing me to start Aaron Rodgers. It's forcing me to start Joe Flacco. It's forcing me to start Sam Darnold. It's going to force me to start Jacoby Brissett in a couple leagues. I probably would still be slamming Kyler in there if he's playing, and I really don't want to because his upside is 22 points. Which, that's fine, but it's like 18 to 22 points. And I'm talking about leagues with PPC, right? So we're getting extra scratch there for that. But, you see what Rodgers gave me 30 points last night. Flacco gave me 35. You know what I mean? Like, Kyler hasn't touched that not this year. I don't know when he did it last year.
Yeah.
All that said, I would buy him if I have one fantasy league, if I have one dynasty league, right? I'd be okay buying him, because I know his price is depressed, and I know that the upside might not be there this year, but I'm hoping that he will at some point again scratch the ceiling of what he could provide.
I love it, Shane. Good work. All right. We have a little over 17 minutes left. So we're going to pick up the speed here. Head over to Roy G. We got 12 by 11 Superflex lineup, tiered PPR. It's a 0.5 running back, first point. I'm assuming first down. I don't know. 0.5 running back, 1 point wide receiver, 2 point tight end, tiered PPR. Trade away Chase, Pittman, also a late third. We got back Puka and Garrett Wilson. I'm 2-4, but a 90% chance of making the playoffs, trying to walk the line. Shane, trade away Chase, Pittman, and the late third for Puka and Garrett Wilson. 12 by 11.
Scott is so biased towards Chase. It's funny. Puka's just
Shane,
as good. Okay, never mind.
He's 2-4, but I mean, you just traded for 2 guys that are going to miss the next 2 games.
Well, that's the one problem,
you just
right?
wasted a 40-point week from Chase, which would have probably guaranteed you win. So,
in a vacuum, I like this deal, to be honest with you. But if you're doing it to help you win, well, yeah, Puka's going to have the week off, and then it's his bye, and Garrett Wilson's going to have the week off. And is their bye coming soon?
It's not his bye, but it sounds like his is a multi-week injury. And he plays for the Jets. And so, that could be a walk the line deal where I look up and I go, well, I'm 2-6. I better not stumble a tiny bit or I'm falling off the pier and I'm cooked. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I mean, and that's the problem with the deal. Because if you just look at the deal, take away the records and all that, and you're like, oh, you got Puka and Garrett Wilson for Pittman, you won. Because Chase and Puka cancel each other out. Garrett Wilson by a good bit over Pittman in a third. But you're trying to win this year, bro. And like to Scott's point, you just gave away a 40-point night from Chase, and then Pittman's usually good for 15 to 20. So look, it's going to be hard to replace that when Puka and Garrett Wilson are giving you zeros for the next several weeks.
Roy G in week 17. Hey guys, won the ship with Puka and Garrett Wilson. I made it in as the last seed, and then I mowed through everybody because I made it.
If you make it in, you look like a genius because you're going to be playing the 1 seed, and they're going to be like, I have no why am I playing this juggernaut? Like, how were they the 6 seed? But you got to make the playoffs.
Roy is a decent team. He says his next 2 weeks are, probably pretty cake. So if he can get through that, maybe that's the play. So I hope you can thread that needle, Roy. I really do. All right, let's move on to Ayo Jr. 1 to 10-team start 9 PPR Superflex. We got Drake May, Stafford, Dart, and Bryce, Chase Brown, Chuba, Javonte, Isaiah Davis, Tet, Ladd, Worthy, Smitty, Pearsall, Alec Io Manor, Godwin, Coker, Shaheed, and Jaden Higgins. We got Ferg Fannin, 2 and 4 team, tied for 6th and 7th, and 6 teams make the playoffs. 2 teams tanked, 2 teams are locked up, the 1 and 2 seed. The rest are very jumbled. So we got a messy middle here, Scott. 2 wins, back-to-back weeks, could jump to 3rd without his own first. I have to go all in, right? What moves do you make? So we got a bunch of other stuff here. Have 1 first, 3 seconds, and 26. An early 27 first of a tanking guy in 2 seconds. Got Tet Worthy a late first to get Genti Olave. The guy says he's debating it. Another guy wants off Tay Adams. Sending Tet for Tay, Vidal, whatever, Kamani, and a mid 27 first. Dart and a first for Burrow. We got a ton of options here. We got those leagues where you could go any which way in the middle, but you should probably choose a direction, Scott. So looking at a couple different deals here. Tet Worthy a late first for Genti and Olave.
So it's a 10x9. You have enough stuff where I'm not worried about your pick being good enough that you have to try not to tank. Your team's going to not finish in the bottom 2 or 3. You already said the bottom 2 are spoken for, but I'm not worried with all this stuff that you have. You might finish 5th or 4th, but I'm not worried about you having to go all in to push your pick to 3rd. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm actually fine with a couple of these deals. I don't mind the Tet Worthy in a first for Genti and Olave. It's a shallow league. Getting a guy like Genti, if he becomes a hammer running back, he's going to be hard to get. And Olave is probably very similar to Worthy or a late first in this kind of format. He's a fringe starter, but you can use him just the same as you could use Worthy. So I don't mind doing that. I mean, Tay Adams and a first for Tet. If you can use Vidal, I don't hate doing that deal either. That's not how I want to use Tet, though. I'd rather use it to get Genti and Olave. So I like that first deal better. Dart and a first for Burrow. I mean, no. Obviously, no. We already talked about that. Like, send Dart for Burrow. Send Dart for Dart and the smallest thing for Burrow if you want to do that. But like, if you watch the first part of this stream, hopefully you've already rescinded that offer.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
But no, I wouldn't push it all in. You don't need to go all in. I would just take my chances. If there's 2 super teams, you probably can't get enough to topple them. So just take your chances. 10x9 variants. You could pull an upset. You could win the ship. I've seen better teams get upset early on in playoffs in shallow leagues like this. So don't overthink it.
Yeah. You got more than enough to patchwork it together, and you're not going to be a bottom team. So, fly free without your first. Good luck. Tanner H, 2021, 12-team start 11 Superflex 2.0 tight end premium. We got Purdy, Fields, and backups. Bijan, Jacobs, Javonte, Rashad White. We got Puka, Ladd, Worthy, Sutton, Debo, and Adams, and Diggs. We got Andrews at tight end. Has all his picks an extra 2nd and 3rd and 26. He's 6-0. He's ranked first, also first in points for. 2 inbox offers. Send a 2nd for Ertz and $222 in fabs out of $1,000 budget, or send a 2nd and get Ingram. Or should I pay up for McBride, who is on the last place team? How would I go about that? So Shane, all he has at tight end is Andrews. He has a 6-0 team. It's smashing right now. You send in a 2nd for Ertz and about a 5th of fab, or a 2nd to get Ingram, or what are we packaging up to get up to McBride?
I mean, I hate all of those offers. I hate all of the, or I should say, I hate all of the paths. This is the choose your own adventure where I'd set the book on fire and just be like, nope, not finishing it. I guess the lesser of all evils is the 2nd for Ingram. because Ertz just popped up on the injury report, and Ertz is also. Meanwhile, I'm going to be like, oh, he's 75 years old. The dude's been healthier than Evan Ingram's ever been in his life. But he's popped up. He did pop up on the injury report this week. Ingram is trending towards more usage over the last 2 weeks. He's seen more usage. I mean, should I pay up for McBride on the last place team? I'll say this. I'd send out some feelers to that last place team and see exactly what it is they want. Could you go back to our roster and let me see what we have here? Do we have anything that's kind of young, kind of okay, but I don't care that I lose? Like Worthy.
Worthy Adams, a first and a second. Does that get you McBride into 2.0?
No. It probably would take Lad and a first. Yeah. I mean,
enough variations of that type of deal, and you never know. Maybe somebody has a hard on for Worthy, or they really, they really like this player, and you don't really value him in a tier any different. Like people Sutton. Send him Sutton. Like people like Sutton for some reason. He's a 30-year-old receiver that's only had one top 24 season, and people are like, "Oh, should I send a late first for him?" Like send a bunch of deals. I'd send the guy 6 offers for McBride and just be like, let him tell me the price. Because what on this roster are you scared to trade away, Shane? Puka? Nothing else. Puka and Bijan. That's it.
Yeah, everybody else can go. So I don't really care what it takes to get there. And he's not going to want, he should not want Jacobs or Javonte or Adams or Debo. So it's probably going to be Sutton, Worthy, Ladd, and a pick. Not all together. Some
those are your options. Mash together a couple different deals, give them some options, see if any of them stick. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, but as a large owner in McBride, I do like the idea of getting into McBride, but has to be for the right price, right? But I think that team could really use a tight end stud to push it even further. Let's move into Alec Malone, 8-2-2, 9-12 by 11 PPR, 175 tight end premium. It's a 0.2 point per carry and a 0.1 per pass attempt. We got JD5, Dylan Gabriel in backups, Monty, Scadaboo, ETN, Pollard. We got Puka, Ibuka, Debo, Diggs, Golden. We got Warren, Waller, 426 first, 426 seconds, and some more. Send away Scadaboo and Golden for Omarion Hampton, Scott. Hampton's dynasty price seems to be holding, and he might be out for more than we would like, but it seems like the dynasty community expects him to come back and still be a top 6 asset. Are you treating him that way?
Yeah, I mean, he's one of the few running backs that because he was a first rounder, because he showed pretty well before he got injured, I think people will value him kind of a lot like they valued Breece Hall when he came back. Like he still was up in the elite range, even though he only had a very short period of time where he probably should have been there. I am a little worried about Amari and Hampton, though. Like it sounds like this injury could be one that he's out for like more than half the season. Like you're hoping he gets back to the stretch run for the league. But I don't mind the price. I mean, you're giving away Golden. You couldn't even sell Golden for a first. And I mean, haven't we seen enough over the last couple of years that until we see somebody just take the Green Bay receiving room over, I'm not going to bet that it's going to be Matthew Golden. He's probably going to be a good player, but like he probably gets to where Jaden Reed got. You know what I mean? He probably maybe gets somewhere between like peak Jaden Reed and Romeo Doubs. And you hope that some of those guys start to go away. But I've just seen too much from Green Bay receivers. It's like, I'm fine paying this price. And you get to get rid of Scadaboo, Shane, right? You use Scadaboo to get Hampton. That's the Shane Manila dream right there.
I'm dreaming. I actually, what's funny is the season goes on and further we get away from the draft, and more I like Golden. Mostly because I write up follow the volume every week, and then every week I look at him and I go, oh, snap share's going up. Oh, route participation's gone up. Oh, target share's gone up. Like it's that steady progression where I do think he will take over as the alpha in Green Bay. But a 25% target share of 28 passes really doesn't move the needle a lot for me. So to get to Hampton, I would do this. Absolutely.
Yeah. Fun at the startup, tried to compete 2 unlucky weeks, back in the 101 race at 1-5, still trying to package up bets to shed some points. I mean, if you can find your way into Hampton without blowing one of your 4 firsts, I like that idea. Again, Scadaboo is pretty sexy, and Golden could be a long-term play, but Hampton could be the one. So I don't mind it. Make your bets, Alec. Good luck getting that 101. Aha, from an earlier deal. Remember those Henderson deals? He ended up getting Henderson or sending Henderson in 3/4 for Jacobs. So there you go. Put those fourths to good use. All right, Big T's also brings the 12-team start 10 Superflex PPRs to 6 -4 for quarterback scoring and a 2-point PPR for tight ends. The rosters Hurts, Burrow, Brissett, Achane, Judkins, Cook, Vidal, and Chase Brown. We got Ladd, DK Metcalf, Downs, Ayuk, Io Manor, Trey Harris. We got Kittle, McBride, Laporta, Fant, and Schultz. Inbox offer to send Burrow and my 26 first and second for Lamar. Team is 3-3 and 6 in the last playoff spot. After an 0-3 start, the potential points puts his pick currently at 105 if he doesn't place in the top 3. I mean, Scott, Burrow first and second for Lamar on a team you need to try to win now. Got to hope Lamar comes back and is Lamar, but I'm assuming he will be. How do you feel there?
Yeah, I think I'm willing to do it. The gamble here is that our first is on the fence, and we're moving it in today. So we do have Brissett to cover us this week. That's probably good. Hopefully we can get to 4-3. Then we get Lamar back. And then we just hope that if we're in the playoffs, we have Jalen Hurts and Lamar, and we have a pretty good skill group. It is a 6-4, which means I like Hurts and Lamar more because the volatility of the touchdowns and interceptions are not as much, and the rushing can actually bridge the gap a little more. You got a bunch of tight ends. I'm okay doing it. But understand, if it goes south for Lamar, you're in the same boat you are today. You probably traded the 104, and you go into next year with kind of a similar outlook, but without your pick. So it's risky. It's risky to use your one chip. It's a really fun deal for the other side too, because if they're in a similar, I could see you doing this deal if you were on the other end of it. Can I just get in with a second quarterback that's cheaper and net the free first? So I like it though.
Yeah, definitely. I understand both sides of Big T's. You got a bunch of other comments there. Hit us up in the DMs. We'll get you if there's any other questions on that team. But that looks like a pretty stacked team as is. McQuinn, when's the best time to sell Neighbors? Probably a few weeks ago, maybe right now. A few leagues I'm hovering that 4 and 6 spot. Wonder if I should sell now to obviously increase the chance of making finals, or wait until more teams are out of it and wanting to buy an injured asset, not scoring points for their tank. Obviously league dependent, but general advice for these situations is helpful. Thanks, guys. I mean, Shane, right now is the time, right? Like now is the time you got to choose your lane, right?
Me and Scott have talked about this a little bit, or a lot of bit. Moving Rashee Rice as soon as he was injured and just regretting it. You know what I mean? Because you don't have the clip in the chamber. Clip in the chamber, bullet in the chamber, whatever, to fire when you need it. 4 and 6. I mean, yeah, the time is now to move them if you're going to make a move. Unless again, it's like your points for are really high, your points for are really high, your points for against are really high too, and it looks like you definitely will be able to win. I guess if you do want to, I don't want to say guarantee your playoffs, but if you want to help your playoff chances, I'm making the move right now. I'm not waiting until other people fall out because, well, how do I know I'm not one of those people that's going to fall out? I guess look at your roster and determine how far away am I actually from the playoffs, despite the 4 and 6 record. Are there 6 other teams that are 4 and 6 as well? Do I have to jump all those teams? Am I the least of the mediocre? I mean, you got to take all that into account, and you just got to make the decision whether you got to pick a lane. Basically, you need to go, all right, I'm either trying to make the playoffs or I'm not. And if you're not trying to make the playoffs, then hold on to Malik Neighbors. If you are trying to make the playoffs, then find a deal that's good. Jesus. Oh, Miami scored. Yeah. Yeah, they did. Find the best deal you can, but don't settle. And that's where I made mistakes with Rice, right? Like if I'm moving Neighbors, then I need ARS B back. I need something like that back. You know what I mean? Like it's got to be someone close to that tier.
Yeah. If you want more on Neighbors, I think we're going to talk a lot of Neighbors on the All Gas Trade Show this week. A lot of the DDFFB members traded some Neighbors this week. So Scott, we're going to go one more. I'm going to end with you here. Dylan Ebensteiner, everyone, Ebensteiner. Got it. 12-team Superflex, half PPR. It's a 0.5 tight end premium and a start 11. We got Hurts, Lamar, and backups. Gibbs, Kyron, Judkins, Hendo, Pollard, Amon-Ra, AJ Brown, Garrett Wilson, Sutton, DJ Moore, Trey Harris, Bowers, and Ertz. He's 5-1, second in points for. A middling owner came to him wanting Travion Henderson. Got offered Hendo and DJ Moore for Jonathan Taylor. He's thinking, but doesn't like DJM. So what would you add to Hendo to get to JT on this team?
Well, I get it. That team, if they're kind of tanky and they don't want DJ Moore, can I get away with sending them Trey Harris and something else? I mean, sometimes you can't get exactly what you want in a trade. I would not sell Jonathan Taylor for Travion Henderson and DJ Moore, but I do understand that manager only wanting specific things. But how bad does he want to trade Jonathan Taylor? It's a two-way street. If he wants to get off Taylor and he wants Henderson back in the deal, maybe the second piece isn't the perfect. This would be the perfect deal if I had like a Luther Burden is the type of player that you'd want to sell a non-contending team with. But sometimes you have to take on the other asset and then go try to flip that. Like you have to put in some of the work. I'm not just going to hand you whatever you want, because the downside is you keep Jonathan Taylor and his points. And he's great, but he's also risky if you don't want his points this year. Like you don't really want to just be carrying him because we've seen him get hurt in the past. So I don't know. I'd add really any of those other players on the team minus. I mean, I'd add Sutton. I'd add DJ Moore. I'd add Trey Harris. I'd add DJ Moore and Trey Harris. I'd add Tony Pollard as the free throw in. He can go try to flip Tony Pollard for a second or 2/3, or like he can't just get what he wants. My question is, can I add Hendo and Judkins and get Jonathan Taylor? And does this guy have another starter? Is that potential? Because I could live with Kyron Gibbs and Jonathan Taylor. I don't need Judkins. And maybe Judkins is the dynasty value piece. Can I get this guy's 27 first? Can I get his 28 first? I would do a deal like that.
That's what
I don't need this many starters, right, Ty? Like I don't need guys like Ertz. Guys like Ertz are on the bench here.
Yeah. Like I think I could use something like a nice pick in the back pocket to make a move later when a need actually comes up. I'm thinking like, can I move Hendo, Garrett Wilson, Trey Harris? Could I get Jonathan Taylor? And if it is truly a middling first that could go either, can I get that first?
Mm-hmm.
Can I make a move like that where I get that Jonathan Taylor in? I take out some of those guys that are just gonna be clearing my lineup, get that pick in the back pocket. I can use that later on, something like that, right?
Or G Will and Hendo. I mean, we like Garrett Wilson, but the reality is he's on the Jets. The Jets are probably going to have a rookie quarterback next year. So it's just, he's always going to be one of these guys. It feels like, oh, he's got a 30% target share, Shane. He's getting all of the work. Oh yeah. He's wide receiver 20, wide receiver 15,
Yeah.
Shane's muted rookie.
No, I'm not.
First stream ever.
He's wide receiver 6 going in the last week, regardless of who his quarterback was. So, I mean, more concerning is the fact that he can't walk right now. And it's hard to play football when both your knees aren't functioning. It's just a little thing I picked up. I'm not a doctor, but I've learned some things.
We got Dr. Shane on. Also, probably a Clue Colonel Mustard reference. So it's a fun little show, guys. We put some rosters under construction. And big shout out to Blake Harper, Ahoff, Roy G, Mike Conron, Big Tez, Ayo Jr., Tanner H, Alec Malone, Dylan Evansteiner, Mick Quinn, Ben Doggy, Pretzel, Anahola, Big T. I saw all of you. Thank you to all of you who tuned out. We are the Dynasty Deal Show. We will be back here next Friday. Good luck this weekend, and we out of this thing. Peace.